Welcome to another edition of Coffee Break Sports. I am your sports barista, Rod the Magnificent, back with another episode and my black hoodie because brother ain't feeling good about that first week of NFL matchups, in particular the Chicago Bears. But before I get into all of that, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications so you can get notified on every time I drop a new video. Also, click that buy me a coffee link. There I will be posting exclusive episodes that I won't be posting on YouTube. So check those episodes out. When I post them, I'll put out an alert for them. And also listen to me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'll be uploading all my new videos there as well, so you can listen on the go. But you're here for one thing and one thing only. You click that thumbnail because you want to see my predictions for week 2 of NFL matchups, and I'm going to get right into it. Enough of me rambling. Let's go. And the first matchup that we have up to bat for the Thursday matchup, the second Thursday night game of the season, we got the Commanders going up against the Packers on the road, and the Packers coming off a very impressive performance against the NFC North Division winners, the Detroit Lions. And man, oh man, after watching that performance against the Packers, they technically didn't need Micah Parsons, to be honest. Micah Parsons got the sack at the end. Now, he made a difference for some of the plays that he were a part of. He wasn't out there much, but the times he was out there, he was very effective. Commanders had a little struggle win against the Giants last week. Even though the Giants didn't really put up a good fight on offense, defensively, they made Washington work a little bit. Commanders look good, but they didn't look quite as good as the Packers did last week. The Packers just all across the board dominated the Detroit Lions. And I got the Packers winning this game at home. They are a 3.5-point favorite. I think they pull this one off in a close game. I think they do win this one by 3. And again, the Packers keep finding ways, more and more ways, to prove me as a Bears fan wrong every year. But one thing I will say about Jordan Love, I still have my question marks about him. He does well in those blowout games, but I need to see Jordan Love when the games get close, when the games get more intense. What can he do? When the Packers need a big throw from him, what can he do in those clutch moments? And that's something that he's going to have to prove to the Packers, because Aaron Rodgers proved it in the past. Favre has proven it in the past. Can Jordan Love answer the call? We'll see as the season go along, but I got the Packers in this one. And now on to our noon games. We got the Chicago Bears going up against the Lions on the road. This is Ben Johnson's first matchup against his former team on the road. And yes, the Lions are talking trash. I hear it. Lions fans are talking trash. I hear it. They are going to be booing Ben Johnson until he leaves the stadium. And I get it. I wonder if whenever the Jets come back and play the Lions in Detroit, I wonder if Aaron Glenn's going to get that same treatment. I don't think so. But yeah, Ben Johnson, he's going to get that treatment when he walks into that stadium. He's very familiar with the stadium. He's going to see a lot of old friends, a lot of old janitors and old office people that used to work there and things of that nature. He's going to feel at home. But coming off a very embarrassing collapse against the Vikings on Monday night, which I also dropped a quick reaction video, click the link above to get that episode. He's got some work cut out for him, especially after that blunder of a fourth quarter game plan that they had. And Caleb Williams, even though I was impressed with him for half of the game, I just was not impressed with what I saw in the second half. I need to see him execute better. I need to see a different Caleb Williams from last season. I'm still seeing the same bad habits from Caleb Williams that I saw last year, holding on to the football way too long, not hitting guys when they're open, going for the check down, and when he's got guys open further down in the field, those are things that he's going to have to clean up. His accuracy is terrible. The man overthrew DJ Moore on a for sure touchdown. I need to see better from Caleb, because these Lions are coming in hungry, and they're coming from an embarrassing loss to the Green Bay Packers where they got shut down all across the board. You know, Sonic and Knuckles are going to be ready to run ramshod on this Bears defense that looked pretty good despite being shorthanded, but there's still question marks on the defensive end for the Chicago Bears. So with that being said, as much as I want to go with the Bears on this one, I'm going Lions. I'm going Lions on this one. They are a 6-point favorite. I think they cover. Up next, we got the Bengals going up against the Jaguars. The Bengals did not look impressive against the Browns that first week. They got fortunate that they walked out of that stadium with a win, thanks to the Browns kicker missing all those field goals. And then you got the Jaguars, who is my surprise pick to win the AFC South. You know, they had a weak Carolina Panthers team for week 1, but now they get a more of a challenge against the Bengals. Now, one thing I will highlight about the Bengals, I was impressed with them on defense. They look better than they did last year so far. Okay, I don't think we're gonna see another year of the Bengals giving up 40 points a game. Okay, unless they play against the Ravens or the Bills, or I ain't even gonna throw the Chiefs out there. I'll get to them in a minute. But this team looks formidable to be a threat in the AFC. The AFC is wide open this year, ladies and gentlemen. But I think the Bengals win this game. They are a 3.5-point favorite. This is going to be a close one. The Jaguars look better than they did last year, but I think the Bengals pull this one off in a close matchup at home. Up next, we got the Giants and the Cowboys. I'm not going to elaborate too long on this one. Russell Wilson looks terrible, and I think he should get benched immediately. If they don't bench him, they're going to get blown out in this game. The Cowboys looked good last week against the Eagles, despite a couple of situations where CeeDee Lamb dropped some passes. I thought the Cowboys played very well. Their defense looks stout. Eberflus has that defense playing. Eberflus has the defense playing, okay? It's just all about the offense, and I think the Cowboys win this one easily at home against the Giants. Up next, we got the Titans going up against the Rams at home. The Titans didn't, even though they kept things pretty interesting against the Broncos, they just didn't look good offensively. The flow wasn't there. And I know they're riding a rookie quarterback right now, but I just don't think that the Titans have enough firepower to keep up with the Rams, even though the Rams squeezed out a brawl fest against the Texans. I think the Rams come out on top here. They are the better team. They're a 5.5-point favorite, and I think they cover. Up next, we got the Patriots going up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins probably had the worst start to any football team last week. I mean, to get embarrassed by the Colts like that, to get embarrassed by Indiana Jones, or that's what they're calling him now, Daniel Jones. And I gotta apologize to Daniel Jones. I was one of those basically saying he's trash, he's washed up. But Daniel Jones, if he keeps playing like this, tapped into his inner matchup that he did against Minnesota a few years back, where that was the infamous game that got him paid by the New York Giants. And if he keeps doing that, they're gonna be a problem. But yeah, this Dolphins team, they're a disaster. The Patriots coming off a close loss to the Raiders. I think the Patriots are the better overall team. Drake May needs to play better. I saw some good and I saw some bad, but I think the good outshines the bad when it comes to Drake May, and I think he'll bounce back and win on the road against a Dolphins team that's a total disaster right now. Up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Saints. The 49ers have a slew of injuries. I mean, their whole team is injured. I was going to pick the Niners originally for this game, even though the Niners are a 4.5-point favorite. I thought the Saints played a good game last week, a good enough game against the Cardinals to win that game. I think the Saints go home and win this game. That's my upset pick of the week. I just don't believe in the 49ers with all the injuries that they have. Losing George Kittle, they don't have Ayuk. They're bringing in wide receivers out of the blue. McCaffrey's going to have to be a workhorse again for this team. Thanks to my fantasy team, I hope he's a workhorse. I got the Saints winning this one, and I got them covering the 4.5. The Buffalo Bills go on the road to take on the Jets. Buffalo coming off an emotional thriller in Buffalo with that historic come from behind victory over the Baltimore Ravens. One of the most impressive comeback victories I've seen in a long time. And they go on the road to play against a Jets team that put on a show last week. Not good enough, not quite good enough to beat the Steelers. But shout out to Justin Fields. I just want to take my hat off and give my flowers to Justin Fields and for his performance that he had last week. 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of over 100. Feels like he was in command of that offense. He showed that when you got weapons around him, he can be effective. It was something that I was trying to tell Chicago Chicago Bears fans that's all they needed to do. They have the quarterback, needed to add weapons around him, but they decided to go a different direction. And now we're still sitting here complaining about a quarterback while the Jets fans are celebrating that they finally have their quarterback. So that's neither here nor there. I do have the Buffalo Bills going on the road and winning this game. They're a 6.5 point favorite. I think this is going to be a close game. I wasn't impressed with the Buffalo Bills defense, and if the Ravens with a run heavy offense was able to run ramshot on the Buffalo Bills defense, well, the Jets are a pretty good running team too, and I think they can make this thing interesting. I think the Buffalo Bills win this one by 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets pulled off the win here. Up next, we got the Steelers on the road against the Seahawks. The Seahawks came very close to beating the 49ers, lost on the last play, and now they are at home against a Steelers team who squeaked out a win against the Jets on the road. Aaron Rodgers looking like the 2021 version of Aaron Rodgers against the Jets. I mean, 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. The man was on fire. Aaron Rodgers' history against the Seattle Seahawks back when he was in Green Bay is not good. Okay, it's not good, Green Bay fans. You know what I'm talking about. All right, Pete Carroll's not there. They don't have much of a threat to really something to be worried about. The Seahawks don't have enough here. The Steelers have a defense that, even though they gave up a lot of points, they have veteran key defensive players that can get the job done at the right time. And I think the Steelers go on and win this game. The Steelers are a 3-point favorite here. Up next, we got last but not least out of the noon games, we got the Ravens going up against the Browns. I have the Ravens in this one easy. The Browns have a lot of issues. I think the Ravens blow the Browns out in this one. I don't see this one being close. The Baltimore Ravens are an 11-point favorite. And now to the 3 o'clock games, we got the Colts going up against Broncos. And the Colts, I'm telling you, man, I was impressed with Danny Dimes. They're at home against a Broncos team that they didn't look good against the Titans. And coming into this game, I like the Colts in this one. The Colts are a 2-point underdog. I think they cover the 2 points here. I'm impressed. I'm sorry, Danny. Once again, I'm sorry. Up next, we got the Cardinals at home against the Carolina Panthers. Not going to harp on this one too long. I got the Cardinals in this one. They are a 6.5-point favorite. Up next, we got the Eagles going up against the Chiefs for the rematch of last year's Super Bowl. And the Chiefs coming off a loss, one of my upset picks last week to the Chargers. They come home to debut against the Eagles team that, although they didn't look as dominant as they looked last year against the Cowboys, I still think they have way too many weapons right now for the Chiefs to take advantage of. I mean, losing Xavier Worthy really hurts the Chiefs. When they lost Rashee Rice last year, I didn't panic that much because they had Xavier Worthy, who I thought was a sleeper pick in last year's draft. And now with Xavier Worthy gone, who can do so many things for them offensively, this leaves a huge hole in the Chiefs wide receiving core. Now, Hollywood Brown had a really good game against the Chargers last week, but I just don't see the Chiefs having enough firepower to beat an Eagles team that has a very good defense and offense that seems unstoppable. And I just think that I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Eagles win this one. They are a 1-point favorite. And for our Sunday night game, we got the Vikings going up against the Falcons. It's Penix versus McCarthy for the second time, reviving an old college I wouldn't say rivalry, but they battled each other in the playoffs, in the college playoff. They meet again on Sunday Night Football. Good storyline. McCarthy coming off a resilient fourth quarter performance against the Bears. Shout out to the LaGrange native. He not only threw his first touchdown to the Bears, he got his first victory against his home team. So shout out to him. But I think the Falcons are slightly better. I just think the Falcons are slightly better. I'm still not impressed with McCarthy as everybody else is. I felt like the Bears lost that game more than McCarthy won that game. And so I'm going to go with the Falcons here. The Falcons gave the Buccaneers all they can handle. Last second play from Baker Mayfield, but I got the Falcons winning this one. They are a 4-point underdog. I think they pull this one off. And now to the two Monday night games. It's a double header. We got the Buccaneers going up against the Texans on the road. CJ Stroud still looks like he's struggling, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of it has to do with they don't have a lot of weapons on offense. I think the Buccaneers are going to have too much firepower going into this game. Even though the Texans defense is really good, I got the Buccaneers winning this one. They are a 2.5-point underdog. And last but not least, we got the Raiders going up against the Chargers. Chargers coming off an impressive opening week victory over the Chiefs. Justin Herbert was firing on all cylinders in that game. He had a very good game. And so did the Raiders against the Patriots. I thought Geno looked very good. I thought Geno played lights out. This is their debut at home. I think the fans are going to be electric. I think the Raiders are better this year, and I think the Raiders pull off the victory against the Chargers. The Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Raiders here. And those are my picks, and I'm sticking to them. I got a lot of upsets this week, so let's hope and see if all those come into fruition. Last but not least, this is breaking news as of me recording this episode. Me being a Chicago native, I am a huge Chicago Cubs fan. And shout out to Anthony Rizzo, who just recently announced his retirement from the MLB. And shout out to him. Shout out to Anthony Rizzo. He was one of my favorite Cubs players of all time. One of my favorite Cubs first basemen since Mark Grace. And yeah, I mean, Anthony Rizzo was a critical part of that 2016 Chicago Cubs championship team that swept the world by storm by winning the Cubs their first World Series in over 100 years. I was there for all of that. I celebrated. I went to the parades. I went to go meet some of the players at random stores. I mean, it was just an amazing year for the Cubs that year. And so I just want to say a big shout out to Anthony Rizzo. Thank you for all the great memories that you brought here to the Chicago fan base. Yeah, even though you went on and moved on to the New York Yankees, you will always be a Cub to me. And that will do it for this edition of Coffee Break Sports. Didn't mean for this to go super long, but I am your sports barista, Rod the Magnificent. When it comes to coffee, when it comes to sports, stay grounded for life. See you guys on the next episode. Peace.